343 Industries released their updated state of the union type stuff over there for Halo Infinite. Their developer update video. And unfortunately, I wish I had a bunch of great news for you if you haven't already seen it, but guess what? Not a lot of great news. 343 Industries still up to their neck and probably up to their eyeballs at this point, or forehead and beyond. They might actually just be 6 feet under the water at this point, but all the same, things aren't looking stellar for Halo Infinite. They're well, let's just talk about it, shall we? First up, Forge, which is the thing that as far as I'm concerned, is kind of the only thing that will keep this game alive long enough to give the would-be 10-year service shelf life of this game any hope of surviving anywhere close to 10 years, is entering beta this coming November. And I say beta because it's not the full release. It is the beta. So we're not getting the full meal deal there in terms of like the finished product. We are getting a beta, but it's to launch in November. And we'll see what people can come up with. People are already out there with limited tools doing amazing things. I saw a version of the Toy Story Andy's bedroom that looked really good, and, replete with a Jenga tower with interactable physics for it. And so, I'm just telling you, let you know right now, the Forge maps are going to be better than 343. And that's largely because 343 has, to their credit, is giving us a Forge mode that now has the ability. I think Halo 5's was a really in-depth Forge mode and had the ability to have, I think, over 1,000, 1,700, somewhere in there, objects. This Forge mode is 7,000 and something. You can do a lot with that many objects. They also have object scaling now, and that's a huge deal. No pun intended. And so a lot of these maps, the creatives in the community are going to do some crazy shit. I'm guaranteeing it, and will almost certainly become more popular than whatever 343 puts out. And like I said, I think they need that. I think they need it because they don't have the development. Either resources, whether that's money, people, time, any factor of resources to be doing the game, any service as a live service title. Clearly, at this juncture, they need something to help bridge the gap. Forge is a good way of doing it. And so we've got the Forge beta coming out in November, which I think is a little later than they had originally planned, but nevertheless, it's finally on the way. Season 3, however, so this is where shit gets crazy, and this is probably the most telling aspect of just where Halo Infinite is in terms of getting its feet underneath of itself. Season 2 will be 10 months old by the time Season 3 launches, because Season 3 has been delayed until March of 2023. That's a long time. That is a very long season. That is just shy of a calendar year for a single season in a live service game. It's unheard of. In fact, it will be the longest that I'm pretty sure that's the longest singular season in any active live service game. With that delay, however, they're saying that well, you know what? Wait, I'll get to that here in a moment. I'll get the rest of the bullet points. We'll talk a bit more about that delay in a moment. Another bit of bad news. For those who have been waiting for Couch split-screen campaign co-op, which had been promised forever. In fact, after Halo 5 famously didn't have it, and then the head of the studio or whatever at the time came out and said that was a mistake, will never happen again. Halo will continue to have it in the future. And then Infinite was like, yeah, it's coming, but they didn't have it at launch. Then they didn't have it at the delayed launch. Then they said it's still coming, and we were reaching the date in which it was supposed to arrive, and then it comes out, and today Joe Staten just literally low-key slips it in. Whoop! Sorry, guys, we're diverting the resources from the Couch split screen co-op into other stuff, so it's not going to ever be a thing. It's gone. So don't look for it. It's never going to happen. They are bringing co-op, network co-op. That is still happening. Couch split screen co-op not coming to Halo Infinite and has been axed in its entirety. Now, in this video, we saw for the first time he's been paraded out on camera. I'm sure he was fucking thrilled about it. His name is Sean Barron. He's the new head of the live service segment for Halo Infinite. And as I said, stepped in front of the camera for the first time for this dev update. After watching it's like a half-hour video, and he talks for the vast majority of it, I would say, or certainly the majority. He was the most confidence-inspiring individual of the three. Statton, who I would have assumed would have been confidence-inspiring, has kind of shrunken into himself. His posture, everything. He's like the confidence isn't there. He's clearly not. He knows when that video goes up what's coming. He's just he's like drawn into himself. It was no confidence whatsoever. Sean Barron, on the other hand, exuded a confidence. He also exuded almost disdain for where the game is. He's clearly not happy with, where the game is when he's stepping into this role, especially from a live service position. It is nowhere near where the game should be or where the team wants it to be, and clearly not where the player base wants it to be either. He's aware of that, and so he was very frank about the whole thing, and how he talked about the project, even though he brought a lot of the bad news in terms of delays and whatnot. He was the closest thing to instilling any amount of confidence that I've seen from 343 Industries since this game came out. And if he wasn't, in this position earlier, he should have been, and he should have been on camera earlier. And given more power than if he was there longer, because he seems to understand that the game has failed to this point, and that things desperately need to change, and they're making these choices. They're hard choices, but they're making them. He did get excited about the fact that he's finally got them to be putting match XP into the game. That's coming this year as well. Match XP being, he looked at it and he agreed with a lot of people's complaints that were playing the game and you weren't getting experience for just playing the game. You had to go in and there were the challenges list, and you were playing the game not the way you wanted to play it to level up and get experience. You were playing it how 343 Industry wanted to dictate you play the game, which was always fucking terrible and never should have left the table. I don't know what the hell they were thinking, but, well, they clearly weren't for most of this shit. But all the same, match experience is coming. That is a beta release in towards the end of the year as well, and it will be paired with a free 30-level battle pass, which is there to help bridge the gap between the delay of season 2 and 3, or 2 into 3, and then B, also to allow them to test the influence of match experience on the battle pass, and for them to make those tweaks previous to the full launch of season 3 in the earlier parts of 2023, which all sounded like perfectly reasonable solutions to what is going on. You have to start somewhere, and this sounds like a legitimate first step. It's just that this stuff should have been first stepped last fucking year. I don't know why it took them this long. And I have here in my notes, I said Sean really drove home the point several times that the game is not where they want it to be by a long shot, and that between now and the end of 2023, and he said that specifically. He said it's going to take until the end of 2023 to get a foundation built under this game to step off of or build from for the remainder of this would-be 10-year life cycle for Halo Infinite. He didn't sugarcoat it. He didn't say, oh, but there's good stuff coming here, and whatever, and try to cover it yeah, there's good stuff coming, but he knows it's shit. And he said it's going to take us until 2023 to get this to a point where we have a foundation. The game is clearly not ready for launch when it came out, and I also I personally believe, honest to God, that 343 as a whole just still has no fucking clue what the hell they're doing, and now they're finally getting some people in that are trying to corral them into a reasonable position for this game since it's supposed to be around for so long. And he did also mention multiple times a term he called seasonality, where he said, for live service games, it's completely unacceptable to have these seasons take as long as they are, or be as long as they are. 6-month seasons, too long. 10 months, clearly too long. It's insane. Unheard of. And that seasonality for him is getting Halo Infinite in a place where the team can focus on delivering content at a cadence that allows for a season once every 3 to 4 months. And that's fine. That's like in line with the rest of the industry. It's just that unfortunately, that's going to now be 2 years in. Would have been 3 if there wasn't a year-long delay, which is even crazier to think about, from the game's original would-be release. And so they're going to be dealing with getting the foundation of the game has already eaten 2 to 3 years of the 10-year cycle that was originally allotted for this game, and that's just unfortunate. I think for any game like this, from a team that was built specifically to make Halo games, you have to remember 343 Industries. They are Microsoft. They were built on ex-Bungie employees originally. They know mostly Halo, and they were built specifically to focus on and produce Halo games, and they have kind of fucked that since their inception and continued to struggle with it. So to think that the game has come out and is going to take 20+% of the life cycle to get to a point where it should have been at launch, it's kind of an indictment on 343 Industries as a developer. A lot like it was at Jack. So Courage had a tweet this week where he was listing out the things that you got for $60 in 2007 when you bought Halo 3, and all of these features that Halo 3 has that were incredible, and that Infinite has like none of any of it. While still charging money for the campaign, and yeah, the multiplayer is free in the free to play sense, but you're getting like nothing. And that's that really is I think a very poignant thing. I talked about this on my stream as well here yesterday. I said, look, and let me know in the chat or let me know in the YouTube comments how you feel about this as well. If you had the option for games today to be as fleshed out and as solid as they were in 2007, where you were getting like a Halo 3, a Modern Warfare, things of that nature, and you got that today, would you rather that or whatever they're trying to pull off right now? And for me, I'd sacrifice a lot of visual fidelity and a lot of like some of this like what they think to be improvements to the game if it meant that I got the package that we were getting in 2007. I'm taking that every time. Well, why would you not take that, right? Yeah, so I don't know. So let me know how you feel about that. Would you rather, like, given what you know about Halo Infinite, maybe you played it, maybe you didn't, and what you've known about Halo 3, whether you played it or didn't, if you find out about what it came with, I mean, you're talking about couch co-op, like online co-op. You're talking about Forge mode. You're talking about theater mode, where you could invite 3 other people, 4 people watching theater modes, file sharing, just a ton of playlists, Bungie made and otherwise, ranked modes, progression systems that crush infinites mercilessly. It just, everything was there. And for $60. And now it's like, oh, games are hard to make. Well, yeah, okay. So just make games circa 2007. If they give you all of that, clearly what you're doing right now is not working. So don't make it so complicated, It was like when we discovered a couple of weeks ago that there was apparently going to be crafting in Halo Infinite. Like, what are you Stop, please. It's the old moniker, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. And I'm sure some people are thinking, keep it short, stupid. I'm over here ranting a little too long about this. But either way, there you go. That was it. You can watch that video. It's about 30 minutes long. If you're interested in Infinite and its development, I highly recommend going to check it out. I do believe that most people will also feel similar, that Sean does seem to instill some level of confidence. It does not detract from the fact that there's a lot of unfortunate delays for a game that's already struggling. And now the beta of Forge Mode, which would be like its one real hope to extend its life long enough to give it a chance at a redemption arc, is going to be launching possibly around the time a rumored Warzone 2 is going to be dropping. I mean, they're really up against it. So all the best to them.